Hello friends, myself Dr. Ravindra Pawar, chemistry teacher from Ferguson College. Today we are going to discuss the chemistry, the first chapter solid state. In solid state we are going to discuss the introductions of solid, types of solid, distinguish between crystalline and amorphous solid. Now let us discuss with the help of PowerPoint presentation. From the picture it is clear that the chemistry deals with almost all subjects like physics, environmental science, plant science, astronomy, geology, medicines, biology, etc. Now let us discuss the chemistry. Chemistry contains total 16 chapters in which today we are going to start with solid state. Now solid, liquid and gases are the three physical states of matter. We know these physical states are the function of the intermolecular force of attraction as well as which is depend on the nature and arrangement of the constituent particle of the matter. For example, if you take the example of solid ice, in solid ice each and every H2O molecule is tightly bonded with hydrogen bond, where hydrogen bond is the force of attraction between them. If you heat it slightly, immediately the hydrogen bonds get break and the free H2O molecules formation takes place. Now, and possess a new physical state which is called as a liquid state. There is no change in the chemical composition of H2O. Again, if we heat the same H2O, liquid H2O, the intermolecular force of attraction is become almost negligible and two H2O molecules get away from each other. That new phase of matter is called as a gaseous phase, or that is also called as a fumes or water vapor also. If you reverse the same thing, that means if you cool it, immediately the force of attraction is increases and the gaseous water is turns to the liquid water. Again, if we remove the heat from the same liquid water, hydrogen bond formation takes place to form the solid ice. That means chemically in all three states the substance was same, that is H2O, right? Then what is the difference? The force of intermolecular force of attraction is decreases or increases. So that's why the physical state of matter is the interplay of intermolecular force of attractions. It may be a dipole-dipole interactions, dipole-induced dipole interactions, London forces or hydrogen bonding. In above case, hydrogen bonding plays the important role while deciding the physical state of water. What are the characteristics of solid? Because the liquid state and gaseous state that we have already discussed in last year. Now in this year we are going to discuss the solid state. What are the characteristics of solid state? The solid substances having fixed composition, have fixed mass, volume, shape and density. More denser than that of the liquid and gaseous state, as the intermolecular force of attraction are very strong. So that's why the each and every constituent particle of the solid substance are tightly arranged. Most of the solids are very hard, incompressible and rigid, but few are very soft. Like sodium metal is a solid, but it is very soft. We can cut it by knife also. Why? Because the strength of intermolecular force of attractions are weak. While in few solids like iron, copper, these solids are very hard, incompressible. Why? The intermolecular force of attractions are very strong. So that means the intermolecular force of attractions, as we discussed in the last slide, between the two constituent particles are stronger in case of solid as compared to the liquid and gaseous states. So they have a characteristics melting point, and that melting point is directly proportional to the extent of intermolecular force of attraction. Solid states are remain stationary at one position. We cannot pour it like a liquid. In case of liquid, that forces are weak, that's why we can pour it easily like water from one vessel to another vessel, but we cannot pour the solid substances as it is a stationary substances. Now, types of solid. Basically, the solids get classified on the basis of how the constituent particles are get arranged. Now, they can arrange in a regular manner or they can arrange in an irregular manner. Now, let us discuss the crystalline solid. The constituent particles are arranged in a regular manner or regular fashion, containing a short range as well as long range order. If you see in this particular diagram, it is made up of two types of constituent particle, brick red particle and blue particles. Wherever you see anywhere, the composition of that substance is remains same. Each blue particle is surrounded by 3 brick red particles and 1 brick red particle is surrounded by the 2 blue particles. So this is unique composition everywhere, that is called as a regular arrangement of the constituent particle, and this arrangement is a long range order. While in case of amorphous substances, now the example of crystalline substance we can say sugar, sodium chloride, these are the examples. Now second type is amorphous solid. In amorphous solid, the constituent particle of that solids are not arranged in a regular fashion. Now in few cases they are arranged but up to a short range order. Now say in this particular picture, if you see anywhere the composition are not same, not unique. Somewhere that blue particle is surrounded by 3 brick red particles, somewhere it is surrounded by only 2. So this arrangement is not in a regular manner. So these kind of substances are called as amorphous solids. In general, you can say wheat flour, Pond's powder, talcum powder like. So these all are the examples of amorphous substances. So we can distinguish the crystalline and amorphous with respect to the following properties. The first one is arrangement. The arrangement in case of crystalline substances, which is regular one. In case of amorphous substances, irregular. Properties. Crystalline substances are always possess a specific property, while amorphous substances does not possess a specific shapes. Melting point. Crystalline substances always have a sharp melting point, like benzoic acid melt at 122 degrees Celsius, while amorphous substances does not have a sharp melting point. They always fuse over a range of temperature. If they are disorderly manner, the range of temperature is high. Heat of fusion. Now they are fused at sharp temperature. There is no characteristics fusion temperature. Now they can cleave. Crystalline substances, if you cut it by knife, you will get the regular cut. You will get a specific planes, edges, while this type of regular cut we never found in amorphous substances. The nature. Crystalline solids are true solids, while these are the pseudo solids like glasses. In case of anisotropy, crystalline substances are always shows anisotropy, but amorphous substances never shows anisotropy. They are always isotropic. Isotropic means what? Random arrangement of constituent particle, while in case of anisotropic means that is the ordered arrangement of the constituent particle. If you change the direction of measurement of properties, we will get a different set of properties called as anisotropic. This nature is possessed by the crystalline substances. Let us see the isomorphism and polymorphism. Very important properties of the solid substances. What do you mean by the isomorphism first? Now, iso means same and morph means form of substance. How it's form? I am just giving two simple examples. Suppose we have two substances or two or more than two substances are there, having same crystal structure. Crystal structure means it may be a simple cubic, it may be a body centered cubic, it may be a face centered cubic, CCP, SCP, these are the various structures are there. And where the constituent atoms of the substances in a same atomic ratio. These two things are very important. If we have the two substances having same crystal structure and same atomic ratio, that time that two substances are called as a isomorphs of each other, and that phenomenon is called as a isomorphism. For example, sodium fluoride and magnesium oxide. Chemically, these two substances are totally different because their elements are different, even though they are the isomorphs of each other. Why? Both are binary compounds made up of two elements, and secondly, their atomic ratio is 1:1 and 1:1 in both the compounds. Because of that, they possess a same type of crystal structure. Another example is sodium nitrate and calcium carbonate. See, in sodium nitrate, one atom of sodium, one atom of nitrogen, three atoms of oxygen. While in case of calcium carbonate, again one atom of calcium, one of carbon and three of oxygen. Ratio is 1:1:3. So now these two compounds are the isomorphs of each other. The question can be asked as a multiple choice question. So now which of the following two pairs are the isomorphs of each other or not the isomorphs of each other? This type of question can be asked. Sometime you will have a same type of, that is, two compounds will be given, same atomic ratio will be given. The first criteria, you just find out the pair with same atomic ratio. If two options are there with same atomic ratio, that time you always try to find out in which two compound the atoms are having comparable atomic size. That will be your correct answer. Now polymorphism. In case of polymorphism means what? Poly means many and morphism, morphos means form, means many forms are there. Now see, polymorphs of a substance are formed under the different experimental conditions. Different condition. If you are going to prepare one substance from the same raw material at different experimental condition, they can possess a different types of shape, crystal structure or forms. So that time these two different substances by their shapes, by their forms are called as a polymorphs of each other. That means a single substance crystallizes in two or more forms under different conditions are called as a polymorphs of each other, while that phenomenon is called as a polymorphism. For example, carbon. Carbon is an element. When you prepare some graphite, that is graphite, diamond, carbon nanotubes, fullerenes, these are the isomorphs, polymorphs of carbon. All are made up of carbon is the fundamental particle of graphite, diamond, carbon nanotubes and fullerenes. But on the basis of arrangement of carbon atoms, now we can get a different types of forms. For example, graphite is very cheap form of this carbon, while diamond is the costlier form of the carbon. While carbon nanotubes is the most important, that is a catalyst in the various organic transformation as well as fullerenes. Now these are the different examples of polymorphs. Now we will see how the structure of diamond is there, where carbon is arranged in a three-dimensional manner to form a cross-joint network structure where each carbon undergoes sp3 hybridization. Each carbon undergoes sp3 hybridization and carbon is connected with four strong covalent sigma covalent bond. While in case of graphite, this is a layer type of arrangement. One carbon is surrounded by three another carbon in one plane. So this carbon is undergoes sp2 hybridization and that carbon is linked with the another carbon from the another layer. So that's why this bond length is 335 picometer, while the carbon-carbon bond length in plane it is only 142 picometer. So that means arrangement is totally different. So that's why graphite is different. This is fullerene. It is just a football type of structure is there on which pentagon and hexagons are there. Again, each and every carbon of this fullerene undergoes sp2 hybridization, and again that unhybridized or pure atomic orbitals of each carbon are overlaps with each other to form a simple covalent bond. Carbon nanotubes, that is a wound ship. Again all hexagons are there on this carbon nanotube again these carbon undergoes sp2 hybridizations. So now that means all are carbon, but they are form a different types of shapes, geometries, undergoes different types of hybridization. These are called as a polymorphs of carbon. White phosphorus, black phosphorus are the polymorphs of phosphorus. Rhombic sulfur, monoclinic sulfur, these are also a different forms of sulfur. Now again alpha quartz, beta quartz and crystallobite, these are the three different forms of silica. Now classification of crystalline solid. The crystalline solids get classified on the basis of what type of unit cell, that means the constituent particle of that crystalline substance, and these particles are bonded by what kind of force of attraction or binding force. On the basis of these two things, crystalline substances get classified or crystalline solids get classified into four types. First one is ionic crystal, or you can say ionic crystal solid also. Network solid, these are also called as covalent crystals, molecular crystals and metallic crystals. These are the four main types of crystalline solids: ionic crystals, network crystal or covalent crystals, molecular crystals and metallic crystals. Right? These four types are get classified on the basis of only two things. One is the type of unit cell which forms that crystal, and second one is the force of attraction between that constituent particle or between that unit cells. Again, molecular solids get classified into three types: non-polar molecular solid, polar molecular solid, hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Now let us discuss one by one. First one is the ionic crystal. What kind of unit cell is present in ionic crystal, and what is the force of attraction between that unit cell, that we will discuss. Now, the ionic crystals are made up of ions, means cations and anions, both. Sodium chloride is an example of this type of crystal, where Na plus and Cl minus, these are the unit cells of ionic crystal. They constitute that unit cell. Of course, when cations and anions are the unit cell, then force of attraction between these two unit cell will be the electrostatic force of attraction, or which is also called as a Coulombic forces. Right? So that means example of this one is sodium chloride, potassium chloride, etc. So how will you can define? Ionic crystals are defined as the crystalline solid, those are made up of ions, that means cations and anions as a unit cell, while electrostatic or Coulombic force of attraction is the force of attraction between them, called as ionic crystal. Very simple. Two things you just remember: what kind of unit cell is there and what are the force of attraction between them. Now let us discuss the covalent crystal or network crystals. Network crystals or covalent crystals are made up of neutral atoms, and the force of attraction between these neutral atoms is simple covalent bond. Example of this one is diamond, graphite, where two carbon atoms are coaxially overlaps with each other to form a strong sigma covalent bond, called as a covalent solid. So we can define the covalent solids are the solids, those are made up of atoms as a unit cell, while covalent bond is the force of attraction between them. Example: diamond, graphite, fullerene, carbon nanotube, etc. Third one is the molecular crystals. The molecular crystal is made up of molecules. In name only the name of unit cell is there. Molecular crystal, the crystal which is made up of molecule. That means molecule itself is acts as a role of unit cell. While the intermolecular force of attraction, we have discussed in the previous slide. What kind of intermolecular force of attraction can be exist? Van der Waals forces, physical forces, dispersive forces, London forces. These all kind of any one in one solid can be exist between the two molecules. Van der Waals forces is the force of attraction between them. For example, solid water means ice. In ice, two H2O molecules are tightly bonded with each other via hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is also a physical type of bond. And the last one is the metallic crystal. Metal ions are the unit cells, while metallic bond, it is a special type of bond, is the force of attraction between that unit cell. Example, copper, gold, silver, magnesium, number of metals, all metals are belongs to this particular category. So we can define any type of crystal with the help of their unit cell and the force of attraction between the unit cell. Now let us one by one crystal in detail. Now ionic crystal, as I said, the solid which is made up of ions, that is cations and anions as a unit cell, while the electrostatic force is the force of attraction between the unit cells, called ionic crystal solid or ionic crystals only. Very simple definition. Two things are important: ions and force of attraction is electrostatic force or Coulombic force. This is a simple example. I am saying sodium chloride. In this particular crystal, sodium and chlorine, these two chloride, these two atoms, two ions are collectively comes together to form this particular unit cell. In this particular unit cell, in this particular crystal, the one Na plus ion, this blue sphere with positive sign, is surrounded by the four. This is, suppose this is sodium ion is there, blue color with positive sign, is surrounded by, this is chloride ion, this is chloride ion, chloride ion, chloride ion, four chloride ion from the same layer, one chloride ion from the lower layer and one chloride ion from the upper layer. That means one Na plus ion is surrounded by 6Cl minus, while 6Cl minus are surrounded by 6 Na plus. Very unique composition. The force of attraction between this positively charged cation and negatively charged anion is the electrostatic force of attraction. So that's why this is an example of ionic crystals. Properties of ionic crystals or ionic solids. All salts are belongs to this particular category. They are crystalline in nature. These all are the ionic substances. Ionic substances or ionic crystals are having high melting point and boiling point. Ionic solids do not conduct electricity, because for the conduction of electricity, substance should contain either free ions or free electrons. In case of ionic solid, ions are there, cations as well as anions are there, but they are not free. They are tightly bonded with each other via electrostatic force of attraction. So ions are not available and there is no free electron. So that's why they never conduct the electricity. But they conduct the electricity in molten state. In molten state, ions are become free. They are responsible to conduct the electricity. They are very hard and brittle. For example, sodium is brittle, but some another metals are very hard. Then undergoes a distortion in crystal. Distortion is depend on that geometries. For example, sodium chloride, sodium nitrite, lithium fluoride, sodium sulfate. These all are the examples of the ionic crystals. Now the arrangement of ions depends on three more important things: size of cation and anion decides the arrangement of these cations and anion in crystal. Accordingly, they possess a specific shape. Charges on the ions decide what type of geometry will be possessed finally, and the ease with the anion can be get polarized. That means size of cation will decide how much polarizing power is associated with the cation. Accordingly, it polarized the anion. Secondly, polarizability of anion is also decide how much it should be get polarized towards the cation. So these three things are decides the arrangement of cations and anion, and they will accordingly they take a different positions, and finally the substance possesses a specific geometry or specific shape. Now let us see the second type of crystal, that is covalent crystals. Now the covalent crystals means what? The crystalline solid, those are made up of atoms as a unit cell, while covalent bond is the force of attraction between them. while covalent bond is the force of attraction between them. What are the characteristics of covalent solid? The covalent solids are made up of atoms. Atoms in these crystals are linked by a strong covalent bond, which is formed by the axial overlapping of atomic orbitals. It may be a pure atomic orbital or hybridized orbital. It results a three-dimensional network structure or layered structure, as we discussed in diamond and graphite. They are very hard crystals, like diamond. The melting point of diamond is more than 3500 degrees Celsius. The crystals are hardest and most incompressible. As the bond is strong one, we cannot compress by applying any kind of pressure on it. These crystals have high melting point as well as a boiling point. As I said, the melting points and boiling points are in thousands. The electrons are localized in covalent bonds, hence there is no electrons are available or no electrons are mobile there. So that's why they are bad conductors of heat and electricity. These all are the characteristics of covalent solids. In today's lecture, we have discussed about what do you mean by solids, what are the different types of solids, how the solids are formed, how they are interplay of the intermolecular force of attraction, characteristics of crystalline and amorphous solids. Now then, types of crystalline solid, ionic solid, covalent solid, molecular solid and metallic solid. Now we have discussed two types of solid, ionic solids and covalent solids in detail. Now in next type of solid we will discuss in next lecture.